Hi guys, I'm Charmy, welcome back on my channel. Today I will show you how to make the beat for Raindrops by MetroBoomin and Travis Scott. I'm sorry that I didn't publish any video in the last month on this channel, but I've been really busy working on these new remakes that are coming in the next weeks. Let's start with the breakdown of this beat. First thing, we got the piano. I didn't find the original preset, so I had to use more layers to achieve a closer sound, but in reality I think that Metro just used a preset or a loop or maybe recorded the piano. So on the original production I think that the sound is way more simpler than what I've done to achieve it. The first piano sound that I used is from Omnisphere, is the Magic Spell folding piano. This is how it sounds. I just disabled the first layer and the effects because I applied them later on the whole layer. Then I used Noir from Contact with this preset, Resonant Vintage. Then the Ragtime piano from the Contact Factory library. And the last one is the Spacey Ebowwood piano from Omnisphere. The effects that I applied are a RC20 retro color with this preset, said piano, then a little bit of EQ, reverb, then sketch cassette. This is one of the essential effects that I applied on this chain, because with this compressor I brought up the brightness of the sound, and then I have a saturation with the effect rack. And the last thing is that you have to put the piano almost 100% mono. This is a really important detail that MetroBoomin used to make the piano sound more vintage. Talking about music theory, this melody is really simple. We just have two chords from the minor scale. In this case is the C minor scale. So we have the tonic chord C minor and then the fifth chord of the scale G minor. And on the second bar is also playing the suspended 4 on the first chord to make like a transition to the second chord. This progression is really abused by Travis Scott producers. This is the piano sound without effects and then with effects. Then we have a bell. This is the second layer playing on top of the piano. I used the preset from Omnisphere, K-Pro Dreamies, with just the third layer, C. I applied some reverb and an EQ, and this is the melody for the bell. This is a really important melody. It helps to create a new vibe for the chords, because he's adding a ninth on the first chord. This D is a suspended 2 and in this case is a head 9, so we have a head 9 chord. Then with the G is just playing the fifth of the chord, and then it's just playing root note, fifth, suspended 4 and then root note. On the second chord is playing the fifth and the root note, then we have a 7th and then we have a suspended 4. Then I use Diva with this preset. It sounds like a synth E piano and it's just playing the same chords with a different inversion to add like a background to the piano, because this sound has a really long release and a big reverb, so it helps to create like an atmosphere. And then we have the last synth, or maybe the two last synth, I don't really know, because on some part of this melody this synth sounds like a square synth, while in some notes it also sounds like a saw synth. So I don't know if it's just a modulation, maybe a velocity modulation, or maybe it's just using two synth like I did to create this type of alternating sound in the melody. The first preset is from Omnisphere. I think that I tweaked this a little bit. Maybe I changed the waveform. So we have this triangle kinda square wave because it has a lot of distortion, and I used a reverb and some EQ to cut the higher frequencies. And then the second layer I used Serum with this waveform. I just made this preset from scratch, so it's just a saw wave, a little bit of filter on the highs. This is a really plucky sound, so we have a short release, and then I put some distortion, chorus, reverb, and some detune. This is really important because Metro always try to achieve this analog sound. Then we have the last sound. I used a pad. I applied an EQ on this sound to make it more soft, because it's just playing in the background. You can really hear this sound. And then we have the drums. First thing, the snare on the third beat. I chopped this one from the original track because I couldn't find the original sample. Then we have a classic two-step. 808, the classic spins, a little bit of distortion, and it's just playing the root notes of the chords. The pattern is really simple. We have a hit on the first beat and one on the second beat of the second bar that is doubled by a hit on the off beat, and then we have a hit on the last off beat before the third bar. And this pattern just repeats itself for 8 bars. Then we have a simple switch, is adding a hit on the fourth beat, a hit on the first beat of the second bar, followed by another hit on the off beat, and then the classic hit on the second beat, another hit on the fourth beat, and then on the third bar is shift this hit that was on the fourth beat on the following of beat, maybe to achieve a little more groove. In this part is also using this note that isn't really in the scale, because it's like a major third for the first chord of the scale, maybe Phrygian scale or something like that. I don't really know why he's using this note. Then we have a openet on the first beat, fourth beat and third beat. And then a vox with a classic 2-4 pattern. Another openet on the first beat of the second bar. And then we have a drum switch for the second part. On this variation I also modified the piano melody, so we have a simpler melody playing the chords on all the beats. I also had the murder melodies on the piano for this part, and what the plugin is doing is just cutting the highs and the lows and adding some reverb to make the piano more ambient in the background. On this part is switching from a snare pattern on the third beat to a clap pattern on the 2 and 4. Then we have another hi-hat sample, always playing a classic 2-step. Then we have the 808, I found this sample with a lot of saturation. It's playing the first and the 7th note of the scale. And also the third and the second. The pattern is quite simple, I hit on the first beat and then I hit on the off beat between the second and the third beat. Then we have the kick, just playing along with the 808. And then we have a snare layered with the clap. And this is the full beat, because it's just repeating the first and second part until the third part, where we have another sample switch for the drums, and also a pattern switch, obviously. So we have the snare on the third beat, hi-hat with the triplets, then we have the 808, it's like a Z. The pattern is quite similar to the first one, and I just applied some EQ on the mids, and then we have the kick. Openet on the second beat, and then we have this vox sample. I didn't mention it, but I found all these drums that I used in this remake in the BWB drum kits, in the volume 1, volume 2 and volume 4. I really think that Metro used these drum kits to make the drums on this album. As always, thank you for watching this video, hope you like this one. I remember you to subscribe and smash a like. If you want to support me, I will leave the link to my Patreon page in the description so you can download the FLP. See you in the next video, bye!